I think it's going to be a normal length service. Maybe 50 to 60 minutes.
I don't know, you were writing all the things, so.
No, that was for my email.
But the river in the garden is your gift from me. Just a bite and the waters crashed along the banks while the snake laughed. Just a bite and the river ran straight all through the night. Noah's gotta build it for the rivers come. Before they come, gotta get in the boat before it's all undone. Floating the earth all covered in blue, the rain finally ceased for this captain and crew. Two by two, stomping their feet on a land renewed. Tie up the bowlines, pull up the mast. The tides are pulling, and they're moving fast. River song, river song, river song, river song, river song. When times were tough around each of 4 miles, a mother had the river to save her child. Carried the child safely in the basket running down the Nile. Tied the bowlines, pull up the mast. The tides are pulling and they're moving fast. River song, river song, river song, river song, river song, river song. Of his people and the waters stirred. Let 'em go, or the plagues will be upon you, Pharaoh. They fled the land and came upon the tide. The waters all around were on their side. Walked on through, safely passed as the waters grew. Tied the bowlines, pull up the mast. The tides are pulling and they're moving fast. River song, 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 river song.
Shabbat Shalom. It's wonderful to be here with everyone this evening as we bring in Shabbat from our home into your home on this Shabbat of June 19th, 2020. And as we prepare to light our Shabbat candles, I want to invite everyone to get your candlesticks out and get your fingers typing for a moment. Take a second and introduce yourself in the chat. Share your name, where it is that you're joining us from this evening, so that we can look around our metaphorical room and maybe even our real rooms too, and see with whom we are gathered tonight. Family, friends, folks we haven't seen in person for weeks, but feel like every Friday night we gather together with, because here we are, building community in all the places that we are, and in this new space that we together have made holy and continue to make holy each and every Friday night and Saturday morning, and all of these times when we gather electronically throughout our weeks. And so we'll begin tonight as we light our Shabbat candles. In Sidur Kol HaNeshama, we are on page 3. And if you don't have a Sidur handy, if you don't have a prayer book handy, there's a link in the chat, http://tiny.cc/KN Shabbat. And a big thank you to Reconstructing Judaism and the Office of Thriving Communities, which is our congregational wing of the movement, for making our prayer book, our Kol HaNeshama Sidur, available as a full PDF during the COVID-19 pandemic. It's such a blessing to be able to literally be on the same page together, even as we are so far away from our synagogue spaces. And so we light our Shabbat candles. As the great doors of night are opening, we come into the clean, quiet room of Shabbat. Let us be thankful as we light these candles, like eyes of holiness for this moment of peace. Let us savor the fruit of the vine, the blood of the earth that quickens us. Let us be thankful for grain, fruit of grasses that feed the cow, the gazelle, and us. Let us be grateful for the children and the work of the week that are our own fruitfulness. Let us, as we eat, never forget that food comes from the earth we must cherish and heal. Through labor, we must respect and reward. We light our Shabbat candles. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'tzivanu le'adlik ner shel Shabbat. And we give this candle another chance. We'll see how it goes. Yedid Nefesh, page 7. Yada-da-nai-dai-dai, yada-da-nai-dai-dai, yada-da-nai-dai-dai-dai, yada-da-nai-dai-dai, 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 yada-da-nai-dai-dai-dai, yada-da-nai-dai-dai, 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 Yedid Nefesh Avarachaman Mishoch Avdecha El Retzon onecha, yarutz avdecha kemo hayal, yishtachavel mul hadarecha, teravlo yedidutecha, mino fetzuf vechol tam. Yada nai 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 nai, yada nai nai nai, yada nai 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 nai, yada nai nai nai, yada nai 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 nai, yada nai 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 nai, yada nai 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 nai, yada nai nai nai, yada nai nai nai, yada nai nai nai, yada nai 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 nai, yada nai nai nai, yada nai nai nai, yada nai nai. We turn to page 25, Shiru Ladonai, Shir Hadash, Shiru Ladonai Kol Haaretz, Shiru Ladonai Barchu Shemo, Basaru Miyom Leom Yeshuato. Sing out to the Redeemer a new song. Sing to the Eternal all the earth. Sing to the Sublime One. Bless God's name. Bring news day after day of divine help. And in just a moment, we'll sing this song. We'll lift up our words in this Shir Hadash, in this new song. And I want to just take a second to wish everyone a Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to Jules and Ruth and Taco. Shabbat Shalom to my parents, Philip and Beverly Sklover, who are joining us from Washington, D.C. Shabbat Shalom to Sharon and Steve Starr, and to Rich Davis, and to Wendy and John and Lucy, Elliot Vandeveer, and to everyone else who is joining us this evening on this Friday night as we welcome in Shabbat. This year, Friday night services coincide with a holiday across our country, and a holiday that many folks in our community who are Jews of color have marked and celebrated for more than 140 years, but a holiday that has been, for many in our community who are white folks or who are not part of the African American community, have missed, have not learned about, have had suppressed. And that is the holiday of Juneteenth. And I want to thank Sharon Starr for wishing everyone a happy Juneteenth as we lit our candles tonight. Earlier this week, a member of our community, Peggy, led us for our morning minyan practice in a writing exercise that was inspired by a line from a poem by Marge Piercy, a line of the poem that reflects. That asks us to reflect on the candle as we light the candles our ancestors lit for us. And I want to note that this Friday night, as we also across this country observe the holiday of Juneteenth, whether it is a happy holiday of celebration and jubilee, celebrating the anniversary of the good news of liberation and an end to enslavement for all of those who are descendants of enslaved Africans who were brought against their will in bondage and servitude and slavery onto our shores, and who are still very much working to become the full and fully seen members of our community that they have never yet been able to be in this country, or whether it is a day of introspection and atonement for those of us who are still reconciling with our role, both historically and in our own contemporary times, in upholding and benefiting from systems of racial injustice and prejudice and racism. That on this day of Juneteenth, we all light candles that our ancestors lit for us. Candles of memory, candles of legacy, candles of guilt, candles of shame, candles of celebration. And so we light these candles as we sing our old songs in new ways, as we sing our new songs perhaps in ways that are attuned each year more and more to the melodies of others. Shiru l'Adonai shir hadash. Sing unto God the Redeemer a new song. Old words that perhaps this evening we sing with a new kavanah, a new intention, as we light the candles that our ancestors lit for us with integrity and with truth and bearing witness to all of the many things that all of our ancestors stood for as we sit in the racial rainbow of a community that we know is the Jewish people. Folks of Ashkenazi heritage, Jews of color, African American Jews whose heritage goes back generation after generation after generation, all of us, from India to North Africa to the Middle East to Poland to Romania to Germany to Uzbekistan, as we light the candles that our ancestors lit for us. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, baruch hu shemo, basaru miyom le'yom yeshuato. Shiru l'Adonai, shir chadash, shiru l'Adonai, kol haaretz, shiru l'Adonai, baruch hu shemo, basaru miyom le'yom yeshuato. Basaru miyom le'yom yeshuato. We rise on page 37 in spirit or in body for Mizmor LeDavid, Psalm 29. Mizmor LeDavid, havu l'Adonai b'nei elim, havu l'Adonai, kavod va'oz, havu l'Adonai kevod shemo, ishtachavu l'Adonai b'hadrat kodesh, kol Adonai ha'alamayim, el ha'kavod hirim, Adonai almayim rabim, kol Adonai b'koach, kol Adonai behadar, kol Adonai shover arazim, v'yishaber Adonai et arzei ha'levanon, v'yarkidem k'mo hegel. Lebanon, Vesirion, Kemo, Vein Re'emim, Kol Adonai, Chotzev Lavotesh, Kol Adonai, Yachil Midbar, Yachil Adonai, Midbar Kadesh, Kol Adonai, Yecholel Ayalot, Vayechesof, Yeharot, Uvehechalo, Kulo Omer Kavod, Kol Adonai, Bul Yashav, Yeshev Adonai, Melech Leolam, Adonai Oz Le'amo Yitain, Adonai Yevarech et Amo Vashalom. Yai, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom to Deb Harris and family, and to Sam and Deb Kersner, and to all of you who have gathered here this evening to welcome in Shabbat together. I want to invite everyone as you come in, if you haven't already, to introduce yourself in the chat and to take a second to scroll up and down the chat and see who else is here. Because as we turn to page 41 for Lecha Dodi and we prepare to greet the Shabbat bride, we also take a second to greet one another. Do a little Kabbalat Panim. Notice who's here with us in our homes, who's here with us on our screen and on screens across, well, certainly up and down the eastern seaboard. As we turn to page 41 for Lecha Dodi. And it's our tradition at Or Hadash to sing the verses of Lecha Dodi that are at the top of each of the pages, and then the concluding verse, Boi v'Shalom, on page 47. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Shamor v'zachor v'dibor echad Ishmi'anu el hameyuchad ayay Adonai echad u'shemo echad L'shem u'tiferet ve'litchila. Hey, Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Likrat Shabbat lechu v'neilcha ki mekor ha'beracha ayay mirosh mikedem nesucha sof ma'aseh b'machshava tchila. Hey, Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Hitoreri hitoreri ki va'orech u'miuri ayay uri uri shir daberi kevod Adonai alayich nigla. Hey, Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Yamin u'smol tifrotzi v'et Adonai ta'aritzi ayay al yadish ven partzi ven nismecha ven nagila. Hey, Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. We invite you to rise as you are able in spirit or in body and face the doors that are closest to you in your home for the final verse. Boi v'Shalom ateret bala gam besimcha uvetzocholai ayay toch emunei am segula. Boi chala boi chala. Hey, Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Yanai yananai yanai yanai yananai yanai yanai. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Lecha Dodi likrat kala yananai 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 b'nei Shabbat nekabela. Page 57, we continue with the Baruch Hu as we rise in spirit or in body and bless the source of life. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. As we bless the source of life, so we are blessed. And the blessing gives us strength and makes our vision clear. And the blessing gives us peace and the courage to dare as we bless the source of life. So we are blessed. Barechu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bidvaro mariv aravim b'chokhma potech sharim uvidvuna mishaneh yitin oliv. That's money. Creator of day and night, who rolls back light before the dark and dark before the light, who makes day pass away and brings on the night, dividing between day and night, the leader of the throngs of heaven is your name. Umavir yom umevi laila umavdil binu vin laila Adonai tzvaot shemo elechai v'kayam tamid yimloch aleinu leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Amari Varavim. Page 61, we read together. We are loved by an unending love. We are embraced by arms that find us even when we are hidden from ourselves. We are touched by fingers that soothe us even when we are too proud for soothing. We are counseled by voices that guide us even when we are too embittered to hear. We are loved by an unending love. We are supported by hands that uplift us, even in the midst of a fall. We are urged on by eyes that meet us, even when we are too weak for meeting. We are loved by an unending love. Embraced, touched, soothed, and counseled, ours are the arms, the fingers, the voices. Ours are the hands, the eyes, the smiles. We are loved by an unending love. Blessed are you, beloved one, who loves your people Israel. Ve'avatecha lo tasur mimenu leolamim. Baruch atah Adonai ohev amo Yisrael. Page 65, the Shema. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך, והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בהם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך, והיה עם שמות תשמעות. We continue silently with one of the two biblical selections that follows. Adonai Elohechem Emet. Mi Chamocha, our song at the sea, our song the tradition teaches us we sang in ancient times as we crossed the Sea of Reeds from slavery in Egypt to the expansiveness of the Midbar on the other side. A prayer that we riff on each year around the time of Pesach and perhaps throughout our whole year, that marks the transition from Mitzrayim, the narrow places, into Merchav Yah, perhaps, into the expansive place where we can witness the divine, where we note that our basic needs are met and we can ascend to greater understandings, right? To spiritual awakening, to tapping into something greater because we are free. And we do a lot of noting and remembering and enshrining this moment as Jewish people, and especially as white Jewish people, and feeling like remembering this and speaking truth to it gives us some sort of a wonderful pat on the back. And I want to note that on this Friday night of Juneteenth, that giving that drash at Passover, that remembering freedom from slavery, our own, and how that makes us somehow channels of empathy and proper allies to everyone, is not just not enough, but is actually doing a disservice to the work for justice that we so often give ourselves pats on the back for. There's a drash that I often share on page 77 below the line, in which Rabbi Yehuda said at the sea, each tribe said to each other, "You go into the sea first. No, you go into the sea first." And as they stood there bickering, Nachshon ben Aminadav jumped into the water. Meanwhile, Moses, right, the great leader of our people, was praying. And God said to him, "My friend is drowning, and you pray?" "What can I do?" Moses asked. And God responded, as it says in the text, "Speak to the people of Israel and tell them to go. Raise your staff." But it actually wasn't God telling Moses that the people should go in and that he should raise his staff that splits the waters. We learn in the Midrash that it's actually this act of Nachshon ben Aminadav, this person who cuts through all of the rhetoric of the people, all of the norms, who says, no, it's not a time for discussion. It's not a time for deliberation. It is not a time to look at our history. It's not even a time to look at ourselves. It's not a time to think about whom we should align ourselves with and who not, and what statements are right and what statements are not. No, it is a moment for action. I will step into the water. I will declare that it is time. I will declare that there can be no more of this. And when he takes that first step, tradition teaches that he walks in and declares, "Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh." Who is like you, Adonai, our God? Who is like you among all of the gods? And then he wanders in a little bit more, and the water goes up above his lips, and he says, "Mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai, mi kamocha nedar ba'kodesh." Right, and that's the mi chamocha versus the mi kamocha. We hear that water coming up. We hear himself putting himself in danger because he is acting in a way that pushes the hand of God, in a way that pushes the arc of the universe towards justice. And it is at that point that God calls out to Moses and tells Moses to raise his staff. It is only after Nachshon walks in, after Nachshon puts himself in danger for what he believes in, once Nachshon uses his body to do the work of justice, to do the work of liberation, that God tells Moses to raise his staff. This is what Mi Chamocha is about. It's not about the song on the other side of the sea that we sing in jubilant times. It's not about the act of leaving, and it's not about the Sinai that we stand at on the other side. It's about that moment of catharsis when you know that you have put yourself in the place that you need to be and are using yourself, your whole self, to work for that collective liberation, even if it costs you that thing that you may not know will come, right? The water is up above his eyes and coming up to his nose, right? He's risking his life here in order to allow liberation to happen, in order to make that change. And so we sing Mi Chamocha on this Juneteenth with that conviction that it's not enough to read articles and to believe that the world needs to change. It takes being a Nachshon. It takes taking to the streets and saying that Black Lives Matter, and saying it with conviction that is in your heart. It takes putting yourself on the line. It takes taking the risk to say the wrong thing because you're learning how to say it right. It takes questioning the words of those you love and pushing against those systems to dismantle them slowly. That is what we carry with us into Mi Chamocha this evening. And I hope that which will take Mi Chamocha to new places for you, maybe act as an anchor for you, a check-in to see how you are doing on your being a Nachshon test. Mi Chamocha, page 79. Umalchuto beratzon, kiblu alehem Moshe uMiriam, uvnei Yisrael lecha anu, shira b'simcha rabba ve'ameru chulam. Mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha, mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai. Mi kamocha, mi kamocha, mi kamocha, mi kamocha, mi kamocha, mi kamocha, nedar bakodesh, nora tehilot, osei peleh, nora tehilot, osei peleh. Malchutecha rauvanecha bokei hayam lifnei Moshe zeli anu ve'ameru Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed Adonai yimloch leolam va'ed v'nemar kifad Adonai et Yaakov galo miyad chazak mimenu baruch ata Adonai gal Yisrael. Page 81. Hashkivenu Adonai Eloheinu l'shalom b'midim malkeinu l'chaim ufros aleinu sukat shelomecha ufros aleinu sukat shelomecha ushmor tzeitenu vo'enu l'chaim u'l'shalom me'ata ve'ad olam ufros aleinu sukat shlomecha baruch ata Adonai hapore sukat shalom aleinu ve'al kol amo Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'al Yerushalayim. We rise in spirit or in body on page 85 for V'shamru. V'shamru b'nei Yisrael et ha-Shabbat לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם ביני ובין בני ישראל אותי לעולם אותי לעולם אותי לעולם ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם כי ששת ימים עשה אדוני את השמיים ואת הארץ ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם וביום השביעי שבת וינפש ושמרו בני ישראל את השבת לעשות את השבת לדורותם ברית עולם. We turn to page 88 for the poem by Rabbi Sheila Peltz-Weinberg, which we'll read together, followed by the silent Amidah, beginning on page 91 for Shabbat. Dear God, open the blocked passageways to you, the congealed places. Roll away the heavy stone from the well, as your servant Jacob did when he beheld his beloved Rachel. Help us open the doors of trust that have been jammed by hurt and rejection. As you open the blossoms in spring, even as you open the heavens in storm, open us to feel your great, awesome, wonderful presence. Adonai sefatai tiftach ufi yagid tehilatecha. Shalom, 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 shalom. We turn as we emerge from our silent Amidah through our prayer for peace. We turn and say Shabbat Shalom to one another, and Shabbat Shalom to Shelley and Guy, and Shabbat Shalom to Leah and Andrea, who have arrived since last we said Shabbat Shalom, and Shabbat Shalom to one another. And we recognize not only those who are here with us right now, but also those who are in our hearts, in our families, in our communities, in our world, who are in need of healing. Our Mishaberach Lecholim is a time not only to pray for healing, but also to make known who in our community we're thinking of, so that we can all know who needs a little bit of extra support right now. So I want to invite you to share in the chat the names of those whom you're thinking of this evening for healing. And then between the two verses of our prayer and song, I'll read the names on the Mishaberach list that I have, as well as the names that we've generated together in our chat, so that together we can all send both our healing energy and also the support of our hands and our time and our love to all of them. Mishaberach Avotenu Mekor HaBracha Leimotenu. May the source of strength, who bless the ones before us, help us find the courage to make our lives a blessing, and let us say Amen. And tonight we're thinking of and sending our hopes and prayers for healing to Roberta Archibald, Arden Bell, Carol Mueller-Bell, Jillian Eve Bach, Rabbi Deborah Bowen, Sarah Sarulnik, Bill Conrad, Robin Kupo, Francesca Dever, Susan and Paul Driver, Eric Gershman, Jonathan Giannini, George and Gail Glansberg, Hal Goodman, Amy Gross, Sheila Guthrie, Alberta Hall, Cordula Hamish, Chava Hurley, Michelle Kalish, Sharon Cass, Fran Kaufman, Elsie Lieberstein, Len McEwen, Robert Mueller, William Mueller, Anthony Nero, Lisa Nicholson, Mike Oswald, Stan Pollock, Abby Rosenberg, Mike Rosenberg, Shelley Sanders, Willie Schneer, Bertha Schwartz, Tricia Slater, Margaret Steiber, Ellen Stewerman, Lloyd Suter, Lynn Van Engel, Isabel Vita, Stan Weckstein, Millie Weissman, Grace Zangwill, Eileen Zeff, Dorothy, Eric Griffin Shelley, Diane Duell, Doug Proudman, Hal Goodman, Shirley Levin, Shelley Rosenberg, Jillian Szymanski, Ivy Snitzer, and all of those in our community who are feeling unseen. We see you. We pray for healing and wholeness. Mishaberach Imotenu Mekor HaBracha Le'avotenu. Bless those in need of healing with Refuah Shlema, the renewal of body, the renewal of spirit, and let us say Amen. And we rise in spirit or in body for Kiddush. Savrei Chaverai, Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Borei Peri Hagafen. Baruch Atah Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam, Asher Kitshanu b'mitzvotav v'ratzavanu, v'shabbat kodsho be'ahava u'v'ratzon hinchilanu, zikaron lema'aseh v'reishit, ki hu yom techila lemikra'ei kodesh, Zecher Litziat Mitzrayim, Ki Eleinu Karata, Ve'otanu Kidashta, La'avodatecha, Ve'shabbat Kodshecha, Be'ahava u'v'ratzon, Hinchaltanu Baruch Atah Adonai, Mekadesh HaShabbat.
Amen.
L'chaim. And we turn to page 121 for Aleinu. Aleinu l'shabeach la'adon hakol, la'tet gedula le'otzer breshit, shenatan lanu Torah emet v'chaye olam nata betochenu, v'anachnu korim u'mishtachavim u'modim lifnei melech malchei hamlachim HaKadosh Baruch Hu. Shalom tishmayim v'yosedaretu moshavim. When senseless hatred reigns on earth and people hide their faces from one another, then heaven is forced to hide its face. But when love comes to rule the earth and people reveal their faces to one another, then the splendor of God will be revealed. Kakatuv b'toratecha Adonai yimlach leolam va'ed v'nemar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad u'shemo echad. We remain standing as tonight we add before our mourners Kaddish, the Kaddish for Black Lives, created by the Jewish Interracial Network and B'chol Lashon. Creator of life, source of compassion, your breath remains the source of our spirit, even as too many of us cry out that we cannot breathe. Lovingly created in your image, the color of our bodies has imperiled our lives. Black lives are commodified yet devalued, imitated but feared, exhibited but not seen. Black lives have been pursued by hatred, abandoned by indifference, and betrayed by complacency. Black lives have been lost to the violence of the vigilante, the cruelty of the marketplace, and the silence of the comfortable. We understand that Black lives are sacred, inherently valuable, and irreplaceable. We know that to oppress the body of the human is to break the heart of the divine. We yearn for the day when the bent will stand straight. We pray that the hearts of our country will soften to the pain endured for centuries. We do the work to bind up the wounds, to heal the shattered hearts, to break the yoke of oppression. As the beauty of the heavens is revealed to us each day, may each day reveal to us the beauty of our common humanity. Amen.
Amen.
And we remain standing as well as we turn to the mourner's Kaddish on page 131. And I want to invite anyone who's saying Kaddish tonight or remembering a yortzeit or honoring someone's name with the words of Kaddish Yatom to take a second and share it in the chat. And I will also add that this week at Or Hadash, we are marking the yortzeits of Laura Castor, grandmother of Suzanne Castor, of Bobby Klein, mother of Peggy Mandel, Gertrude Ackerman, mother of Bonnie Ritterman, Clive Morris, father of Bernice Morris, Stuart Modelson, the father of Peter Modelson, Donald Reef, husband of Eliza Green, Roz Fisher, mother of Stephen Fisher, and Herman Pavel, the father of Shelley Pavel, and that we're in the period of Shloshim, the month following the passing of Donald Bernard Wolfe, father of Carolyn Wolfe Savitsky, father-in-law of Marty, and grandfather of Robin Savitsky, and of Louis Pizzarni, the father of Jill Marmion, father-in-law of Jim, grandfather of Emily, Molly, and Laura Marmion. And we are also saying Kaddish this week for Helen Sloan Burgoon. Mourners and those observing a yortzeit rise as we recite Kaddish Yatom, mourners Kaddish, along with all those whose tradition it is to rise for Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemeh rabah.
Amen.
Be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol Beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kariv v'imru. Amen. Yehei shmei rabah mevorach leolam ulalmei almaya. יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמך תקודשה בריחו לעילה מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמא ואמרו אמן. יהי שלמה רבה מן שמיה וחיים עלינו ועל כל ישראל ואמרו אמן. עושה שלום במרומיו הוא יעשה שלום עלינו ועל כל ישראל ועל כל יושבי תבל ואמרו amen. We can be seated. Zichronam livracha. May their memories be a sweet blessing for all of us. And Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat at Or Hadash continues tomorrow morning over Zoom with Torah study at 9 a.m. and services at 10 a.m. The link can be found on the Or Hadash website, www.orhadash.com. And then tomorrow evening at 8:30 p.m., I believe it's 8:30 p.m., we have our weekly Havdalah happy hour hangout also on Zoom. And it's a time at the end of the week just to hang out and chill and with no agenda, just spend some time with friends, meet some new ones, and get some social time even as we are here in our homes. A few events coming up in the next couple of weeks. In just 3 weeks, on Saturday night, the 11th of July, we are really excited to be welcoming the poet Marge Piercy to Or Hadash digitally by Zoom. She's going to be doing a Havdalah, an author reading, and talk back with all of us. The event is free of charge, but registration is required. Please head over to the Or Hadash website to register, and I believe that books will be available if people want to purchase one of her books. I believe that we will be selling those, but I can double check. And also for more information. And again, that is Saturday night, July 11th at 7:30 p.m. The following week, on Friday, July 17th, which is my birthday also, we will be celebrating Pride Shabbat, LGBTQ Pride. And we made the decision that as opposed to celebrating it in June, which is traditionally Pride Month, because Philadelphia is moving Pride to July, that we would also move our Pride to mid-July. And so Friday night, July 17th, will be Pride Shabbat. And then the following weekend, Saturday night, the 25th, will be a watch party and then movie talk back of the documentary Crip Camp in honor of the 30th anniversary of the Americans with Disabilities Act, and a conversation about disability rights, disability justice, and taking a look at the past 30 years and what perhaps the next 30 years in the disability justice movement can look like. And so those three really wonderful events are coming up. I also want to mention that, it's Kites 5780. Our amazing summer chugim for children and open to some adults as well, or some of them are open to adults as well, are starting this Monday. Everything from cooking to shofar blowing to a special class just for our Gan and Aleph, our kindergarten first graders, to arts and crafts, are all starting up this Monday. Go to our website for more information, or email Maura Barbara at school@orhadash.com for more information about really wonderful things to do for all ages and stages educationally this summer. With that, I want to say Shabbat Shalom to everyone, and that it has been wonderful to all be together tonight. Shabbat Shalom from our to your home. And this week, I just want to hope that everyone has a safe and beautiful Shabbat, enjoying this beautiful weather, and we can't wait to see you next week. Shabbat Shalom from our to your home. Shabbat Shalom, hey, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat Shalom, Shabbat, 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 Shabbat Shalom. Shabbat Shalom, everyone.